Publications from the cyber media stable was held in Mumbai recently. The forum explored IT's linkages with various business functions like HR, marketing and business value. The event was partnered by some of the biggest names in the IT sector like HP, HCL, Hitachi Data Systems and Riverbed. DQLIVE provided a unique platform for IT leaders and professionals to understand and delve on linkages between IT and business. The event also featured stalls that displayed some of the latest and innovative IT solutions for businesses. The event kicked off with a buy-invite-only pre-event power breakfast hosted by Hitachi.
If you look at the service providers, the Indian service providers have been very successful. Okay, more successful than other service providers, mainly because they are open to partnerships. They're not locked into any vendor. Okay, also that they are quicker, more agile to meet the needs. And that's what we need to be able to move forward and be successful in this type of environment.
The main event started with a ceremonial welcome address delivered by ETNOW of Cyber Media on what the event had in store for the participants.
DQLIVE is a unique program in that this program attempts to directly address the linkage between IT and business value. Not only that, we will also explore the linkages of IT with various business functions: marketing, supply chain, strategy, finance, HR. Really understand as to what is the story about technology from the functional viewpoint, and that's why we have a lineup of speakers who are practitioners from those functions.
Although the IT business linkage was a key agenda, the main theme of the forum was finding ways to map technology to meet C-suite expectations. Minhaj Zia from Cisco shared his insights on how the relationship between technology and C-suite executives was witnessing a gradual change.
Raising the productivity in the organization of employees, whose job cannot be automated, is the topmost priority for any C-level executive. Customer satisfaction, improving how do we respond to our customers and timely and more appropriately. Today's patience of customers and tolerance levels have come down. Yes. We need to make sure that the response goes instantaneously, and bringing the subject matter experts in the organization in front of customers so that you get the best of answers as quickly as possible, and that leads to customer satisfaction as such. And on the other side, if you look at cost control, because some of the economies in the world are not doing so well, so employees are expected to do more with less, and that's what again brings down cost reduction. Is some of the areas that customers also look at. These are the imperatives that result in actually the bottom line, which is the profitability of the organization, and that's the most important aspect that a C-level looks at, because they are ultimately answerable to their shareholders.
Next on the agenda was the CEO keynote address delivered by Ashish Chauhan of Bombay Stock Exchange. Mr. Chauhan touched upon his experience as a CEO and how today's CIOs could become future business leaders.
Basically, in a rapid changing world, all the functions keep on evolving. The CIO's job, which used to be practically an EDP role 20 years back, has slowly evolved into a person who knows everything. He kind of holds on, he glues, or he's the glue which holds the organization together in a sense, and so that's a very, very powerful role. And the management is looking up from being a pure sort of a technical functionary role to now a very strategic role for a CIO. And if CIO is able to figure out the tricks of the trade of other functions, he might be finding himself into the shoes of a chief operating officer or chief business officer or a chief executive officer.
But let me start with the big picture here.
The next speaker, Dr. Sunil Mithas, Associate Professor at the University of Maryland, spoke extensively on the linkage between IT and profitability. Dr. Mithas also shared his findings from his vast research on how IT investments had a greater effect on profitability in the service sector than in the manufacturing sector.
We collected data from about 400 global corporations, and when we linked IT with profitability, what we really found was very surprising, and it is that information technology not only has a very high effect on profitability, but the effect is higher than that provided by R&D and advertising activities. So that is one key finding of our research. And the second thing we really looked at was that what is the mechanism? Is it because of the revenue or because of the cost? And to our surprise, what we found was that information technology has effect on profitability more because of revenue than because of cost, although many of the IT projects are justified for cost reasons.
A deeper perspective into IT's role in enabling business value was next on the agenda. This saw a trio of professionals sharing their views on the IT's role in facilitating business value through a CFO's viewpoint.
I am in the business of advertising and communication. We are very similar to Bollywood. Big ideas, stories, glamour, volatility, so on and so forth. In this journey, basically there are three actors: CFO, CIO, and technology, if I can humanize him as such. The moment you have a triangle in Bollywood, it starts with a confusion, leads to conflict, and ends with a happy ending. That always happens in Bollywood. If you ask me, my experience too is more or less similar as such.
And now we are in a situation where we have businesses which are investing heavily in technology, but the users are seeing technology which is even smarter, faster, and better. And the biggest challenge which the businesses are now facing is that how do we make that user of IT feel good about it, which he doesn't because he sees better technology outside. So there is a huge disconnect which we are seeing from, which is completely different from the past issues. So the past issues were saying, how do you train somebody to use technology? Now you are facing issues saying, how do you get somebody to use a technology which he doesn't like?
Things have changed in the last 20 years. If you look at banking, for example, there used to be retail branches when the customers would come during the day, and by the evening you had all the time to maintain your systems and do everything else. Yeah. Today it's online banking. You can't even have a downtime of a minute. So your support systems have to change, your IT staff training has to change, your IT staff has to change, the responsiveness has to change, everything has to change. So businesses are now depending more and more on IT. IT is not an enabler. IT is an integral part of business.
When we thought that the IT industry couldn't go any further, we see that it's still evolving, and so is the role of the CIOs and the CTOs of different companies. It's time for a very short break on the show right now, but don't go anywhere. The action continues on the other side.
While the markets take a break, ETNOW's weekend lineup gives you a head start on the week ahead. Realize your dreams by managing your personal finances on Investor's Guide. Get the smartest trading ideas on your trades. Connect with the top strategists who are redefining the markets on Market Makers. Maximize your market opportunities with Buy Now, Sell Now Weekend. And stock investment simplified and amplified on All About Stocks. Prepare for the trading with ETNOW's weekend market shows only with ETNOW.
Opportunity comes knocking every minute on ETNOW. ETNOW gives you more stock ideas from the best technical analysts every day and talks to the management of the most promising companies. Breaking stories that impact your investments. Make every opportunity a profit opportunity from 8 to 10:30 a.m. only on ETNOW.
Rewarding the various stakeholders who have transformed the transport ecosystem with their immeasurable contribution. Presenting the Mahindra Transport Excellence Award Series 2012 in partnership with ETNOW. A trailblazing initiative recognizing the outperformance and excellence in the transportation ecosystem. Coming soon, only on ETNOW.
Welcome back. You're watching a special show on ETNOW. We are still at the DQLIVE conference in Mumbai, where the action continues.
With IT's role expanding into a value-generating service and the CIO's role growing into that of a strategic leader, this forum had a whole host of issues to debate on. To explore IT's capabilities in leveraging analytics and data, Sudha Bhamidipati from Leapridge and Anil Nambudri from Britannia spoke on IT's integration with marketing.
The first theme is really that in a fragmented retail trade environment like you have in developing countries like India, all the consumer strategies that the companies come up with, packed up by a whole amount of data, really hinges on the front-end salesman who actually goes to the customer in the marketplace and talks about your product portfolio and talks about what you have to offer. If all your strategies don't enable this front-end salesman to execute in the most optimal manner, then the whole thing just comes apart. And one of the broad themes, therefore, is going to be how are you going to leverage information technology and analytics and data to enable the front-end salesman to execute in the most optimal manner.
The fact that you can analyze how consumers are interacting with your company, the fact that you can analyze how your costs are flowing through your supply chain, you can do so much of analytics using the data available that I think all the functions are going to be reinvented.
Picking up from IT's integration with marketing, the next speakers touched upon the subject of managed services. HCL's Anand Ramakrishnan focused on the trends and future of managed services in India and also spoke about the business challenges CIOs and CTOs are facing today.
If you look at the market challenges, the challenges for businesses is not about IT anymore. Have I become IT enabled? Have I implemented an ERP? Do I have a network? I don't think the challenges are those anymore. The challenges are more in terms of, the macroeconomic outlook, the number of cycles of recession coming, going up. The frequency between recession cycles is, much more nowadays. And all of these. So how does IT become more flexible? How does IT become more elastic to handle all of these challenges, right? The macroeconomic challenges, the geographic challenges, the IT, the production challenges, and so on. So IT challenges, if you ask me, comes probably last in the list of challenges. So that's where the CIO is becoming more global. He's becoming more business oriented. He's becoming less technology oriented. That's the shift that we are seeing.
Looking at all the
Carrying the subject and discussion forward was Prasad Nambiar from Tulip Telecom. Sharing his vast experience in the area of managed services, Mr. Nambiar spoke about its evolution into a major business function and the trends these services have witnessed over the years.
Managed services is not something new. It has been there for quite a long time. The idea of providing IT and telecom services and infrastructure on a managed services basis has been going on for over a decade. Okay, this idea has been going on. Many organizations have adopted different levels of management and managed services or third-party managed services, during different periods of time. Some organizations completely trust their networks, their softwares, their IT infrastructure across to a third-party organization. Certain organizations do it in very limited ways. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm confident that over a period of time, the percentage of organizations really moving into giving their networks away or giving their IT assets away is going to increase, subject to legalities and regulations.
I come from the ingenuity and an ability to innovate are the key traits for an IT professional to be successful. The next topic addressed the issue of how IT professionals could contribute to their companies through innovation. David Wittenberg of the Innovation Workshop outlined avenues and pathways for innovation for CIOs and CTOs to be successful.
What I feel is that in the future, and even now, it's important for the CIO to be an innovation leader in the organization to add value. So I talk about the mindset and the approach and the philosophy that today's and tomorrow's CIO need to have in order to make that contribution to organizational success.
The next speaker, Prerna Tandon, a prominent operations consultant to organizations, discussed IT's application in operations environment, especially in the area of human resources.
HR is not a single homogeneous, so the way payroll and HR information system works versus the way recruitment works versus the way, some of the other sub-HR functions work. There is different roles that technology lands up playing, and HR is also reinventing itself in a big way. For instance, outsourcing. You know, when did we ever hear of HR outsourcing or HR using metrics and analytics? You know, you need to do employee segmentation. You need to know, you know, why is there a churn happening in the company? What's the causes for attrition? What profile? You know, employee profiling is becoming a big thing. So there are all these changes in the environment that are forcing both these functions to work together and come together.
Continuing on the subject of IT's application in human resources was Avdesh Krishna from Nomura.